cost of goods, the cost of energy, the cost of taxes, all things on Illinoisans' minds as we wrap up the year heading into 2026. And one thing that a lot of people still very much concerned about is energy prices. Well, the governor, he says that energy is up under Trump, but Trump says energy is coming down. What are others saying about all of this, and how are Illinois policies impacting consumer prices? All right, go to thecentersquare.com where you can get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning, and you can also wake up with us here for Illinois in Focus Daily. It's Friday. Programming notes, I am going to be taking the final week of the year off, and next week is going to be a slow week. We'll have some pre-recorded stuff, some best of stuff available, but we won't be live. All right, so just be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell here for the Center Square. All right, but let's get into the conversation about price. All right, so earlier this week, President Donald Trump addressed the nation saying prices are coming down. Governor J.B. Pritzker, through his political campaign, put out a statement saying no, prices are going up. One thing that we could probably point to, something that's on the face of the gas pump when you go and fill up, is the price of gas. A lot of states have gas under $3 on average. Illinois, not in that category. We're still struggling with gas over $3. And with the back and forth between Trump and Pritzker about price, I reached out to Republican State Representative Brad Halbrook, and he said, gas prices are an issue.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is I've traveled across the district this week and all fall. We have seen some pockets where gasoline at the pump is as low as I've seen it in a long time. One end of the district in the mid 240s up to mid to upper 270s, maybe a few in the low 280s. So, in kind of central and east central Illinois, we've seen prices, or the prices that we're seeing now, I've not seen in a long time. And to think, if we had not doubled the gas tax in 2019, we would see prices another 30 cents or so less than that. I mean, we could see some prices in the 215, 220 range if it wasn't for the gas tax doubled.
Yeah, and that gas tax doubling in 2019, adding to the cost of gas in Illinois. State Senator Selena Villanueva also sharing her thoughts on the price in Illinois and just how everybody's cognizant of it.
Something like, look, we're always thinking about the realities of everyday life and the affordability of everyday life for people. Like, that's a constant thing, I think, for us in Springfield is, like, are things actually affordable? And so the reality is, it's always a constant conversation. I can't tell you that it's not. I can't tell you that it always is a conversation. So whether it's that, property taxes, whether it's the cost of eggs, whether, again, we're bringing enough business into the state of Illinois for there to be jobs available for people. Like, we're constantly having those conversations.
Now, the governor said that under Trump, consumer prices going up and up and up and up, even though Trump's been in office for less than a year now. And a lot of the major inflation that happened during the Biden administration. And you didn't necessarily hear the level of criticism about increase in prices during the Biden administration from establishment media. And the governor, I don't really recall him too much really going after the Biden administration for increased prices. But he's going after the Trump administration for increased prices, even though inflation has cooled off a bit. And economists watching that number very closely. And State Representative Brad Halbrook says the governor's just wrong on what's driving the cost here.
Yeah, well, the governor is going to say what he wants to say and needs to say to try to be politically relevant. He just has difficulty grappling with the truth. He has trouble grappling with the president. He needs to work with the president. The president has some good ideas. They need to get the situation in Chicago and wherever else in the state on the illegal aliens, the violent criminals. They need to get that situation under control. And why the governor is just resistant and hesitant to that is beyond common logical sense thinking.
Halbrook also saying that, the high costs of things are really due to Pritzker policies and tax increases that we've seen time and time again.
Right. I mean, we've got the highest property taxes in the nation. This gas tax is second or third highest in the nation. The list, corporate income tax is right up there in the top two or three. all these costs that are all policy driven that the governor has advocated for. Um, these things lie at his feet, and how he can blame the Trump administration for them I don't understand that.
And we've got, of
Other than
course,
that's just Governor Pritzker doing what he does.
we've got the recent reports about energy prices, and we talked about that this week as well, with the manufacturers coming out saying they need to reverse course. There's red flag warnings about high prices, higher demand, and lower reliability, with inference that the focus of renewables is not going to cut it for the demand that's coming. And that energy price debate very much the forefront of Representative Halbrook, who's in the southern Illinois area and has manufacturers and farmers and consumers that are being impacted by these high prices.
Well, policy is driving it. Illinois deregulated electric generation and transmission in '97, and over the last few years, they've tried to re-regulate it in favor of alternatives to phase out coal and natural gas in favor of wind and solar. And now we're seeing the onset of battery storage. And these things are all real expensive, and they're really slow to deploy, coupled with the fact that they're unreliable. But generators are making decisions, long-term financial decisions, and they see that their facilities are due to be closed because of these emission standards. And it's just economically unfeasible for them to stay in business because of the policy.
And Halbrook also highlighting a recent report from the Illinois Power Agency and Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and the Illinois Commerce Commission, talking about studying power availability and making projections into the future, saying that we could have energy shortages by 2029 for major parts of the state if the state continues on its trajectory, including the decarbonization efforts of closing power plants. Plus, you've got the Citizens Utility Board saying that, listen, even though some rate requests from utilities are getting slashed, you're still going to see higher rates in Illinois, again, with the energy plan that's in place right now.
Right. I think that's what's really telling in the report is the plan's not working. Things are just not happening as quick as they need to. Again, this is what we've said since 2021. These are not well thought out plans. They're not well orchestrated. You can't just arbitrarily set dates for closure without having a plan that will work and get us to that point. They've moved the target on the renewables 2 or 3 times over the last several years, and I don't see how that we're going to get there. And I think that report tells that very succinctly. And so they've already predicted higher rates for next summer. And so we see with the onset of the data centers, the high demand that they have for energy, there's nothing been legislated that is going to make rates cheaper, even though that's what we've been told. We're not seeing it, and the report tells that story.
So clearly, you've got independent oversight of energy and the costs, while the legislature is passing legislation to put more policies in place and more regulation in place that's focused on so-called green energy or renewable energy. Illinois House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch, talking to the Center Square up in Chicago earlier this week, reacting to that report from the Illinois Power Agency and the Environmental Protection Agency and the Commerce Commission about how Illinois could see a shortage. Is it time to maybe reverse course on the closure of base load generation through coal and natural gas powered plants? Here's the speaker.
Listen, in 2021, we passed transformative energy legislation in CEJA in 2021, and here we were 4 years later. We passed another omnibus energy bill that people tell me is transformative. I'm looking forward to the governor putting his signature on it. But all of my experts around the table say, we're going to be back at the table. We're going to continue to look to ways to make things better, and I'm listening to those experts. But I got to tell you, the bill that the governor is going to put his signature on, people say it's going to help this state in the short term and in the long term. It's going to bring costs down. It goes directly to our affordability issue under this president. Since day one, we've seen prices continue to go up in the energy space rather than down. But in Illinois, because of the work we did in veto session, we're going to bring those prices down with the policies that we're putting in place.
Don't know if that's necessarily what the report that came out this week about the resource adequacy study from the Illinois Commerce Commission and Environmental Protection Agency and others. And that resource adequacy study says that there's going to be shortages and the demand is going to exceed the supply. And that means there's going to be higher costs on consumers, things that have been, red flag warnings for all kinds of industries like the manufacturers and such. But Speaker Welch saying that they are going to continue conversations about this stuff. You got State Representative Halbrook saying he hopes that the Speaker is genuine.
Well, the short answer is yes, and I hope that the Speaker is sincere. I mean, he has a hard time, I think, sometimes with the way his talking points or his ideology and reality. It's one thing. So I hope the governor signs it, but then we need to get back to the table to okay, how many times are we going to try to fix CEJA? How many times are we going to try to fix FEJA? Whatever the case might be, how many times are we going to offer up these different fixes? And so, you have these several hundred-page, 1,000-page bills that just make the situation absolutely worse. And I'm really glad to hear that the manufacturers are out. They were out this summer with a statement that said this was going to be $1 trillion expense to electrify Illinois by, I think it was 2050 or 2045, $1 trillion added expense. I mean, one manufacturer, small business that I talked to in September in the district, he has a business in 2 locations. Same period over last year, his electric bill jumped from $40,000 to $109,000. That's just not sustainable. They may be profitable, but I can't believe that their $69,000 additional expense a month profitable.
So with the law on the governor's desk to invest more ratepayer subsidies into battery storage and expectations that he's going to sign that, what does that mean for legislators when they come back to the Capitol in late January? Are they really going to hunker down and start figuring out how they can shore up the prices and that's increasing this summer when that's the expectation? Are they going to maybe take a look at reversing that closure date for coal-fired and natural gas power plants by 2045? We'll be watching. That's why you need to subscribe to Illinois in Focus, the podcast with you each and every morning. Also, you've got the newsletter through thecentersquare.com. Go to the Illinois page and sign up for the newsletter today. It is Illinois in Focus, only with the Center Square.